All right, so here we have a 2006 Honda Element. The issue that we're hearing with this car is the back brakes. They're making a lot of noise on braking. So we'll go ahead and take the tires off and actually see what kind of wear we have. But today's gonna be rear brake job on the 2006 Honda Element. All right, so here we are, we have the wheels off. We can already see, it's pretty obvious that the pad was chewing the rotor away. So we're gonna go ahead and break this one down now. First we'll start with removing the caliper and the caliper mounting bracket. All right, so first we're gonna remove our 12 millimeter mounting brackets for the caliper. All right, so go ahead and just making sure these will be the slides, just making sure everything moves good. This is actually a pin that goes in here. Make sure it's not froze up. If it was froze up, that would contribute to one side of the rotor wearing versus the other side. So you just want to make sure everything's free, taking it apart to address any other issues that may be there. Just kind of want to set it. We don't want to let it hang on the hose. You can definitely see that. So they were pretty close. I mean, that would be something that you would want to, in a normal brake job, if one side is a lot of pad and the other side is completely worn out, then it would be something in the slides where the caliper wasn't centering itself up. So we're pretty close. We just, looks like the owner just went a little too far in between brake jobs here. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and remove these 14 millimeters here. This would be the bracket for the caliper, so we can take the rotor off. All right, so the rotor is attached by these screws here. I do have a tool. Let's see if it's easy. All right, so that one was pretty loose. Same with that one. So what I have though is this tool. You would hammer on the end of it and it compresses and it will spin as it compresses, so you could really bite into a Phillips head to remove it. Doesn't look like we need it though. All right, since we have everything apart, the parking brake, this is very minimum. It could be replaced or not. It is just for the parking brake. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean it all up. Make it as best as we can, clean and adjust it and all that. All right, so here we have our new rotor assembly. These things do come with like a soap on it, and it's just to keep it from corroding, while it's on the shelf. So we'll go ahead and hit it with brake clean. Because what we don't want is we don't want to transfer that over to the new pad. So we'll go ahead and we'll clean it all up. All right, so we just want to line up. We see our screw holes. Maybe. Okay, so what we want to do is, normally to adjust a parking brake, it's self-adjusting. When you back up and stop and use the brake, that will self-adjust it. What we just want to do is we want to just spin it a little bit. We can hear making it contact. So we're going to go ahead and leave this side alone. Go ahead and put our screws back in. All right, so we've cleaned up the caliper mounting bracket. We're going to go ahead and take off the hardware. All right, we'll clean a little behind there so we can install our new hardware. I go ahead and reattach our mounting caliper. All right, so here we have our new pads. Came with our new hardware kit. It also came with some lubricant. So the lubricant, we'll use the lubricant, well, let's see which. Sometimes they come with two different kinds of lubricant. This is for the slide. So this would be to keep the slides free. So we'll go ahead and we're going to just peel back. We have really good slides. We're just going to peel back and squirt a little bit more in there. All right, so we'll go ahead and we can kind of just pull it out a little bit and remove the rubber. All right. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we need to push the caliper. We need to actually get the caliper to go back. There's a couple different ways you could do this. You could remount everything up without the rotor. That way that you could drive. There's a tool that would fit in here and press and screw it back. I have a different kind of tool. So I have a brake adjuster like this to push the caliper back. So we just put the pads in, we'll slide this in, and we'll twist it. It will slowly push the pad back. And then there's different ways to do it. I mean, if you're going to do this by the book and you really want to put the car, follow every single instruction to the T, you would want to open the bleeder valve and then push the caliper back. That way any kind of debris or trash that's caught in here gets just pushed out of the system instead of staying in the system. It is up to your own choice. We're going to go ahead and reinstall our hardware. So we always want to put new hardware on with new pads because pretty rusty here. We want the pad to have a nice place to slide on so it can tighten up and release as you demand the brakes. Then we want to make sure that we pick the same pad for the squealer. And this was on the inside. Okay. We have one more. Not sure how this comes out. We're going to try to squeeze it together. and try to see if that does anything for us. Basically, it's these two tabs here on there. So we're going to go ahead and try that same way again. Okay. And what that's going to do is that's going to push the pad to make it even. Go ahead and give it one more little cleaning. All right, and now we'll work on the other side. All right, so on this side, as we're loosening, you can see our slide pin is not wanting to break free of the bolt. All right, so what we do in this case is we take a 17 millimeter, and then we can grab it. All right, so now we're all complete with our brake job. Everything's clean. We'll go ahead and put the tires back on. The one thing we want to remember we did brakes is before we put it in drive, we want to pump the pedal 2 or 3 times so that it fills the void back in so we have braking power, because you'd hate to put it in reverse and have a bunch of panic stops to try not to hit something. So we want to make sure the brakes do apply before we roll out of the bay.